Hello, I'm Dr. David Perlmutter. It has been estimated that in the United States more than 1 million people have Parkinson's disease, with more than 50,000 new cases being diagnosed each year. Over the past several decades, medical research has identified several fundamental abnormalities of brain chemistry likely responsible for this affliction. In the late 1950s, the discovery of a deficiency of the brain neurotransmitter dopamine led to the development of L-DOPA therapy, which remains the mainstay of treatment for Parkinson's symptoms. While L-DOPA therapy is clearly effective in treating symptoms in Parkinson's disease, recent medical research has raised concern over its use, since it has now been demonstrated that L-DOPA significantly enhances the production of brain-damaging free radicals. It is these free radicals which are responsible for the progressive brain destruction not only in Parkinson's disease, but in all of the neurodegenerative conditions. The concern over free radical production by L-DOPA is compounded by a recent report in the prestigious medical journal The Lancet, showing that L-DOPA increases the production of homocysteine, an amino acid directly linked to increased risk of stroke and myocardial infarction. In a landmark 1982 study, researchers reported the discovery of another brain chemical deficiency in Parkinson's disease, glutathione. This discovery prompted clinical research to evaluate the effectiveness of glutathione administered intravenously for the treatment of Parkinson's disease. Based upon these results, we began using intravenous glutathione in 1998. The results we have observed using this naturally occurring brain antioxidant have been dramatic. Video of the following 3 patients is presented with their gracious consent. The first patient is a 72-year-old man diagnosed with Parkinson's disease in 1994. His medications included Tasmar, Sinemet, and Mirapex. Clearly, this gentleman is significantly compromised by his Parkinson's disease. Ambulation is particularly difficult for him, especially in attempting to turn 180 degrees. At times, his feet appear to be essentially glued to the floor, despite his best efforts to get them to move. His balance is significantly compromised as well, and oftentimes the top part of his body tends to move more quickly than the bottom part. This obviously has important implications, making him at increased risk for falling and hurting himself. The patient was given 600 milligrams of glutathione intravenously. 30 minutes later, he is noted to be walking with much more fluidity and much better balance. He turns 180 degrees with much less difficulty and does seem to rely upon his assistant much less so. Steps are in fact much longer than prior to the glutathione, and overall the patient is feeling dramatically improved. The next patient was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease 8 years before receiving glutathione. At the time of his initial evaluation, he was taking Sinemet. The patient appears to be ambulating fairly well, but one cardinal feature of Parkinson's disease is quite readily apparent, and that is the lack of associated arm movements of ambulation, his arms essentially appearing to be glued to his sides. The patient does turn 180 degrees without significant difficulty, but it's interesting to note that there's a remarkable loss of facial expression. 15 minutes after receiving glutathione, 600 milligrams intravenously, the patient is observed to ambulate with much better arm movement. His rate of ambulation seems to have increased as well, and the patient does appear to be somewhat more animated. The next patient is a 55-year-old woman diagnosed with Parkinson's disease 9 years prior to the administration of glutathione. At the time of her evaluation, she was taking Sinemet and Simitrel. Several cardinal features of Parkinson's disease are observed in this patient, with significant difficulty in turning 180 degrees, obvious balance difficulties, and steps which are quite foreshortened. The patient has a severe degree of difficulty in starting ambulation and appears to be quite frustrated with her present condition. Again, it is noted that because of this patient's difficulties with balance, falling is a great concern. The patient was given glutathione intravenously, 600 milligrams. 50 minutes later, there's a dramatic improvement in her ability to ambulate. Arm swing is improved, initiation of movement is improved, and the patient clearly turns 180 degrees with virtually no difficulty whatsoever. It would be difficult to make any diagnosis of an abnormality in the patient at this point. Clearly, this patient is quite pleased with her progress, with a marked improvement of her facial expressions. Intravenous glutathione administration is associated with a marked reduction of rigidity, as well as a significant increase in mobility in Parkinson's patients. Many patients also demonstrate an increased ability to speak and also find that they are much less depressed. Finally, most patients demonstrate a marked reduction of tremor. Go. Okay, say today is a sunny day.
Today is a sunny day.
Good. Can you stop and turn around? Can you walk that way?
Sometimes I can't stop putting my legs up.
Turn around again. Just walk that way, okay? Okay. Now we have you stop and say to... You okay?
Yeah.
Today is a sunny day?
Today is a sunny day.
Good job. Okay. All right. All right. Good. Walk on down there. Go. Big steps. Go. All right, come on back. Turn around. Come on to me. Let's go. Go for it. Big steps. Come on. Turn around. Come on back. Turn around.
I feel a lot better.
You look a lot better. That was about a half an hour ago we gave it to the time.
Yeah.
Back.
Boy, now my legs are so much better.
There you go. All right. Let's get close to the camera.
You okay?
All right. Let me have you stop. Now on here you say today is a sunny day.
Today is a sunny day.
It is, isn't it?
It is.
All right, go ahead. Let's. You still recording? Let's see how he looks. Go for it. Come on back. What do you think?
I can't believe I'm walking. It's so hard to walk the other way, Doc.
I know.
This is wonderful.
All right. Okay, we good, Joe?
Yes, sir.
You look like a regular guy now.
I feel like a regular guy. I'm serious.
You look great.
My facial even feels better.
Yeah. One more time. Let's see you head on down there.
Not back on my feet, Doc.
No, I see that. Come on back.
I can turn around.
really quite an honor at this time to be working with a doctor like Dr. McCord. You know, the information that he has put out is published in some of the most well-respected, scrutinized, peer-reviewed literature, like, for example, Free Radical Biology and Medicine, an incredibly powerful journal. But these articles and these studies that he has published really make it clear that this is very, very powerful chemistry.
For Dr. McCord's discovery of superoxide dismutase and his contributions in free radical biology, he was awarded the Elliott Cresson Medal. Dr. Joe McCord has devoted his life's work to the study of free radicals, their role in aging, and the many problems associated with aging.
Our bodies are producing hundreds of millions of free radicals at any given time. And the notion that we're going to put out that fire or quench that number of free radicals with a single capsule of, for example, vitamin E or vitamin C, really, when you think about it, doesn't make much sense. Rather, the approach is to turn on the genes to make huge numbers of copies of antioxidant chemicals in our body, things like catalase and superoxide dismutase and glutathione.
Consumers spend billions every year on antioxidants in the form of food and supplements, hoping to reduce these free radicals. But antioxidants from these sources can only eliminate one free radical for every one antioxidant molecule you consume. Taking one Protandim 1 time per day for 30 days turns on these anti-aging enzymes in your body. Your own enzymes eliminate free radicals at a rate of 1 million to 1.
I think any other supplements that are designed to be antioxidant supplements probably are no longer needed, because Protandim solves that problem in a much more effective way.
So the danger of these free radicals when they're produced as a normal part of our physiology is they induce what is called oxidative stress. And we can consider oxidative stress to be essentially rusting of the human body. And it's not just the parts, but we actually damage our DNA. The very genes that make us who we are to some degree are damaged by the process of oxidative stress, meaning that we can't heal properly and our bodies are more prone to aging.
We found, as many other scientists had documented, that there is a progressive increase in T-bars in your blood the older you get. When these same people took Protandim for 30 days, the age-dependent increase in lipid peroxidation was completely eliminated. After Protandim, we could no longer distinguish the 80-year-old from the 20-year-old.
Universities around the world continue to initiate and fund their own studies of Protandim and to evaluate how this anti-aging breakthrough can prevent and improve many of the hundreds of problems associated with aging.
Many academic scientists at a number of universities have begun studying Protandim because it represents a new tool. It represents a way of reducing oxidative stress that wasn't available before. There simply was not a good way of doing what Protandim does. The ingredients in Protandim were actually selected because they're largely metabolized by the liver, which does not interfere with most prescription drugs, which are generally metabolized by the kidneys. So the immediate benefits of Protandim are within several days, the biochemical markers of oxidative stress begin to decrease. And while these are immediate improvements, you may not sense that these things are happening, just as you can't sense what your cholesterol level is if it's high or low. Protandim doesn't interfere with other supplements. Supplementation is generally not required.
We've got to have the hard science behind products that we recommend. And unfortunately, there are a lot of products out on the market today that do not have the science that they need. Protandim has the science that you can depend on.
This is the paper that showed the synergy. The synergy of Protandim caught us all by surprise. It was far more than we hoped for. You might say, why'd you put 5 ingredients in Protandim? Why not just pick the best one? Our bodies don't let those ingredients in. Our guts keep out most of those ingredients. So you can get low concentrations of each of the 5, but not high concentrations. No matter how much you take, you're limited to a low circulating amount. What this slide shows is if you look at the individual contributions of those 5 ingredients, control is nothing. Ashwagandha is the first ingredient, essentially nothing by itself. Bacopa, nothing. Green tea, that's actually negative a little bit by itself. Silymarin, okay, something there. And curcumin, also negative. You put those all together, and you get the red bar on the right. That's what synergy is. A lot of people may look at the label. They may say, well, I've heard of several of these things, and I've been taking curcumin for the last 3 years. Why do I need to take Protandim, which may be more expensive than my bottle of curcumin? This is the reason. You can't do it with curcumin alone. You can't do it with any two of those. All 5 of those contribute to this powerful synergy in this particular endpoint, 18 times more than we expected to see by the sum of these individual low concentrations of the ingredients. The second paper showed that the 5 ingredients produce this huge synergy, that each ingredient acts at a low and pharmacologically attainable dose. Sometimes there are papers published showing that in a petri dish, curcumin can do this great thing. Well, your body is not a petri dish. For your body to use curcumin, you have to take the curcumin capsule, and it would have to be absorbed and transported through your body. That's what's limited. It doesn't happen. A little bit of curcumin gets in, not much. Protandim works because the 5 ingredients, it's okay if they're at low concentration. 5 things at low concentration, working together, amplifying the NRF2 activation is what does the trick. And specific ratios are important. So there's synergy, there's a low dose effectiveness, and there's a specific ratio of these 5 ingredients. This paper also showed that glutathione is dramatically increased, nearly 4-fold, by treating cells with Protandim. And it's not because Protandim contains the precursors you need to make glutathione. It doesn't. How's it working? It's causing the enzymes that make glutathione to be produced. That's the part that's rate limiting. The mechanisms are very different. This shows cysteine, one of the key amino acids in glutathione, gets into your cell, and the enzyme shown there in blue, glutathione synthase, is upregulated by Protandim. So you can make GSH, glutathione, an important antioxidant protectant in your cells. But amazingly, what limits the amount of glutathione most cells can make is not the amount of cysteine that's circulating through your body. There's a little protein there called XC-, and it's a turnstile protein. If your cell is like your local branch bank, it may have a revolving door to get into that bank. And this protein lets cysteine get in one side of that revolving door, but only if another molecule, glutamate, is coming out the other side of that revolving door. So it's like a heavy door that it takes 2 people to push to get one in and one out. That's one of the most powerfully upregulated genes by Protandim. And that's the part of this whole glutathione synthetic pathway that's limiting. That's the slow point. You may have cysteine lined up outside the bank waiting to get through. If you don't have a working door or enough doors in that bank, no matter how much cysteine is waiting outside, it's not going to happen. So making glutathione is not getting more cysteine into your body or acetylcysteine or any precursor. It's about upregulating those enzymes that can put it together and make it for you.
We've got to have the hard science behind products that we recommend. And unfortunately, there are a lot of products out on the market today that do not have the science that they need. Protandim has the science that you can depend on.